Hello, this is Coding Gicha for full-stack developers. In the previous lesson, I covered how to set up a PHP development environment using Visual Studio Code. While it's useful to view PHP error logs in real time using the tail command in the terminal panel, it would be even more useful to be able to debug PHP while developing. This lesson covers installing xdebug and enabling debugging in Visual Studio Code. Most languages install modules through their respective package managers and manage them in a project management tool. However, PHP typically installs modules through the System Package Manager, so you need to install the xdebug module using apt. Let's navigate to the directory that manages PHP modules. Let's edit the xdebug.ini file. Enabling step-by-step debugging allows you to step through your code and analyze variable values as it executes. I'll configure xdebug to start when a PHP request is initiated and before any PHP code is executed. The default port that xdebug attempts to connect to the remote host is 9003. You can change the port, but I recommend using port 9003. Let's restart php-fpm. Now, let's cover debugging in Visual Studio Code. Click the Run and Debug menu in the activity bar on the left. Your eyes are drawn to the Run and Debug button, but clicking it doesn't start debugging. Note that the Run and Debug button can be useful if the PHP debug extension isn't installed. If you have a PHP file open and click the Run and Debug button, a notification will appear stating that there's no PHP debugging extension available and asking if you'd like to find it in the marketplace for debugging PHP. Otherwise, the Run and Debug button is useless. The launch.json file must be configured for debugging. Select the gicha.org project. A list of available debuggers appears, but since I don't have any installed, only the built-in debuggers are visible. Since a PHP file is currently open, it suggests installing a PHP extension. Let's install the PHP extension. Let's install the PHP debug extension. Let's go back to the Run and Debug menu in the activity bar on the left. As mentioned earlier, the Run and Debug button is a meaningless button that does nothing when clicked. Click the Create a Launch.json file link, select the gicha.org project. Since I kept the default settings for xdebug, I can use the default launch.json file without any changes. Click Start Debugging. The debugging tool may obscure the File List tab, so let's move it to a less obstructed location. Let's set a breakpoint. When you call the PHP page with a web browser, it will stop at the breakpoint, so the loading mark will continue to cycle. Let's move to the next step using that step over command. The timestamp object, which will be used to output the date, now contains all the values. You can also check the values in the debug console. In ISO date format, the time must be expressed as a 2-digit 24-hour clock, so it must be capitalized HH, not lowercase hh. This typo was noticed while editing the recorded video, so it remains in the video. Thank you for watching.